do I think? Am I in like Good Morning Vietnam? Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to Loud Librarians, the show where we discuss all of the library things. We talk about copyright and library things. We talk about library service. We talk about libraries, all right? We're the Loud Librarians. This is our podcast. I am Hannah.
I'm Amber.
That you are, Amber. That you are.
Yeah.
Now, as we've done this season, I'm not going to ask you what title your book title would be today.
Right.
I'm going to ask you what the title of your academic journal would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my title would be Unsuccessful Self-Treatments for Writer's Block. Don't do these things. In brackets.
Lovely. It would be cataloged in with the other journals in our collection in Z. For those who aren't familiar with the Library of Congress classification system, that's where the books and journals about writing about writing.
Yeah.
Kind of like metacognition, but
On the fourth floor.
writing. Yeah, on the fourth floor.
Lovely space.
Yeah, you could do a lot with that. That's actually very academic and scholarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Hannah?
Oh, geez. I guess it would be the scientific exploration of wind. It would the windy. Wind science quarterly. Now, I believe it could also just be like. I don't think wind science is a very scientific term, but it was a very windy morning this morning.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So it would be, and it's a quarterly review.
Yeah.
You know, this is a scientific journal. Okay, there's no
This is like the
room for
pinnacle.
non-science in here.
Yeah.
This is science, hard science, and that's what it would be about. I clearly have work to do because I
Yeah.
don't know anything about meteorology or
Yeah.
wind.
Yeah. Do I walk towards the wind? Do I walk against the wind?
I don't know.
What do I do?
All I know is that my eyes are crying.
Yes.
And I need to start this journal and organize a team of peer review editors and whatnot in order to understand why.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that, Hannah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm so much of the other brain. It's like my only understanding of the wind is just from like ancient Greek mythology, which isn't very good. But yeah, so that's what my title would be.
Yeah. We could find ancient Greek mythology in our stacks in the library.
Oh, for
you know?
sure. Yeah.
Tons
and
and
the
tons of
classics.
books. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this episode, we're going to wrap up our exploration of the sometimes tumultuous is a great word.
It is.
Often bewildering, another fabulous word. Bewildering is, no one uses bewildering enough, you know?
No.
Yeah. And the forever enchanting world of copyright. But before we wrap this segment of the pod up, let's take a trip down our precious memory lane and recount our journey through copyright and fair use. Take it away, Hannah.
Excellent. Okay. And now, let's go down memory lane.
Yeah.
Imagine that vitamin C
Oh my God,
song,
yes.
vitamin C song is playing that played at your 8th grade graduation
Or the Green Day
whatever,
song.
or the Green Day song.
Yeah.
You guys know the ones,
Yeah.
we hope.
Oh.
So to wrap up, there's fair use. It's got 4 factors,
Yeah.
okay? It's an important part of copyright. We've talked about copyright a lot, but let's just break it down in the simplest sense, what these 4 fair use factors are. And again, fair use is something that it's when you can use copyrighted work, but not necessarily obtain permission from the copyright owner because you are doing so within fair use. And what are these fair use factors? Well, in season 1, episode 1, we in general just introduced everyone to copyright there. But in season 1, episode 2, we discussed the purpose of the copyrighted work, which is fair use factor numero uno. Then in season 1, episode 4, we discussed fair use number 2, which is the nature of the copyrighted work. And then in season 2, episode 1, we discussed fair use number 3, which is the amount or substantiality of the copyrighted work. And now in this episode, we are going to discuss the fourth factor of fair use, the finale, the big show, wham, 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 air horns, which is the effect of use on the potential market for or value of the work. So, as we've just established, we've already covered fair use 1, 2, and 3. That's almost all of the factors one must check off on the fair use checklist, which is also available to view in the Fordham University Library's Copyright Resources Research Guide. And today, we're looking at this final factor. I'm going to read it off again, just to really ingrain it in your minds. It is the effect of use on the potential market for or value of the work.
That means we're talking about cash money.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're in the money today, Amber, because this fourth factor of fair use addresses whether one is taking copyrighted work and using it for their own profitable gains.
Ooh, so yes, and this means how much money, if any, the use of the content is costing the copyright holder, or whether the content is being used in a new way that puts it in a totally different market.
Okay, so if someone were to take this episode of Loud Librarians, convert it into a CD or cassette tape, and sell it on the street corner under a trench coat, that would be a violation of copyright because someone else is profiting from our work?
I mean, I would appreciate that. That would be really cool to see, but yeah. Especially if there's like two people on top of each other with a long trench coat.
Or 4 cats.
Or 4 cats. That would be a violation of copyright for a few reasons, but certainly using our work for commercial gain is a violation of copyright through the lens of the fourth factor of fair use, as it would deprive us, the copyright owners, of income and undermine a new or potential market for the copyrighted work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so the biggest crime of that scenario would not be trying to convince a group of potential buyers to purchase a CD or cassette in 2024, but rather that using someone else's copyrighted work for financial gain and creating a new market, a new buyer's market rather, for the work is a violation of copyright.
Right. Or think of it like this. Like say the podcast becomes highly super successful and we also lose full sight of our librarian values and promoting the free dissemination of information and thus start to advertise sponsored ad content on this platform.
Okay. Yeah. I like where you're going with this. I can see us rolling in the Benjamins now, Amber. It might be too late for this season, but next season, we're going to have it all.
Season 3,
I'm talking sponsorships from Blue Apron, Magic Spoon,
Got it.
Third Light, Love, Bright Lights, Big City. We're going to go fast. It's going to be big.
It's going to be big. All right, but you got to slow down. We got to calm ourselves down a little bit, you know?
Okay.
And this
Can't go so fast.
In this completely like super hypothetical and improbable reality, which the podcast gains advertisers and then someone was to resell our episodes, sans advertisements, and distribute these CDs to a land where people still purchase and enthusiastically listen to CDs. I am one of those people. That would be copyright, a super copyright no-no.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Also, I've heard that depriving a copyright owner of income is very likely to trigger a lawsuit. And that this is true even if you are not competing directly with the original work.
Totally. This is true even if original materials were legally obtained. The replicated or transformed work should not take any money away from copyright holders at all.
Right. But let's think about if you are putting this in a completely different market. So let's think about parody again.
All right. So we remember from our first episode on fair use last season that a parody is a literary or musical work in which the style of an author or work is closely imitated for comic effect or ridicule. In other words, the new work makes fun of the old work through imitation. Think Weird Al.
Right, and we talked about him in that episode.
Yes.
So exactly. Let's look at the effect of use on the potential market for or value of the work in the context of this. So there exists on YouTube many parody videos, of course, and one of these animated parody videos is titled Baking Bread by the Blunt Brothers Productions. This is a parody of the crime drama television series Breaking Bad.
Ooh.
Of course, this video can legally exist as a parody alone, which is protected by fair use. But this also shows how the audience for this parody video will likely not affect the market for the original Breaking Bad television series. In other words, it is unlikely that the 437,000 viewers of Breaking Bread will replace their Breaking Bad fix with solely this animated YouTube video parody. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. So let's say someone publishes an unauthorized Harry Potter book. I haven't read these books, but let's say they do,
as we established
in episode 1. And they potentially harm J.K. Rowling's market for selling her own Harry Potter books. In this case, this would make it unlikely to be considered fair use. In contrast, the critique or review of the Harry Potter series, even if it includes some excerpts or quotes, is not likely to replace the market for the original work and would more likely be considered fair use. The specific facts of each situation will greatly influence the outcome of fair use analysis.
Yes, totally. Another good hypothetical analysis of how the fourth factor of fair use works. But to give you guys some real life examples, let's look at a time when using a copyrighted work did affect the use on the potential market of the copyrighted work. And some people even got in trouble.
Uh-oh. Oh, snap.
Okay. So, in 1990, the company Defendant Publications International Ltd. published a book entitled Welcome to Twin Peaks, a complete guide to who's who and what's what, containing direct quotations and paraphrases from the television show Twin Peaks, as well as detailed descriptions of plot, character, and setting. The courts found that not only was the amount of material taken substantial, which was discussed in our last fair use episode, but that the publication adversely affected the potential market for authorized books about the program.
Yikes, Hannah, don't scare our listeners too much, you know.
I'm scared, Amber. I'm quivering.
Yeah, shaking.
I'm quivering, I'm scared. I have authored many self-published books about every detail of every TV show I watch. Jokes. I'm a librarian, I would never. But okay, let's hear about another time, maybe in which fair use was found?
Oh, I hope you're kidding about those self-published books, you know.
Yeah, no, of course I'm kidding. I'm all jokes. Nothing but jokes.
In a lawsuit commonly known as the Betamax case, we're taking it super old school, the Supreme Court determined that the home videotaping of a television broadcast was fair use. This was one of the few occasions when copying a complete work was accepted as a fair use. Evidence indicated that most viewers were time shifting, that is, taping in order to watch later and not library building, collecting the videos in order to build a video library. The Supreme Court reasoned that the delayed system of viewing did not deprive the copyright owners of revenue. Therefore, the potential market and income of the copyright holder was not affected.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoy that the court case used the phrase time shifting.
Me too, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you know, we should also probably tell the listeners that the market for the copyrighted work includes not only the market for the work as it exists today, but also potential new uses or adaptations in markets.
Absolutely. So let's say you write a book and you own the copyright of the book. You realize one market for your work by selling your book to the public or having a publisher do it. But what if there might be markets in other countries for foreign language translations of the book? Or what if the book has screenplay and movie potential?
Right. If it's discovered that your book is a huge hit in France, or
amazing.
as I like to say, France,
Fra.
someone can't just sell a French translation of your book or make a movie based on it without licensing translation or movie rights from you. You own the translation and film rights, even if you presently have no plans to exercise those rights.
That's right. Translation and movie rights are part of the market of your book, and it's up to you whether and how you exploit those rights.
Phew, yeah, all right, well, We just covered a lot of ground there. Now I need a vacation. Bye.
We sure did. Not only are we wrapping up this fourth factor of fair use episode, but this concludes our entire segment on fair use and copyright. Oh,
I hate goodbyes. This is all rather bittersweet,
Yeah.
melancholic almost. I feel nostalgic for fair use and copyright.
Oh, there's no need to be sad, Hannah. We still have a few more episodes to go this season, and don't worry, we won't say goodbye to copyright forever. We're just going to temporarily shift our focus towards other important library aspects so that we can really dissect, discover, and discuss all the library things.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it. Any last words to say about fair use?
Maybe just to add that fair use involves subjective judgments. When in doubt, consult the fair use factor checklist or discuss with a librarian.
And when in more doubt, consult a lawyer.
Yeah, that too.
That too. All right, well, you guys know the drill. This is the end of our episode, so you better follow us on Loud Librarians Pod on Instagram.
Bye, guys.